A Florida woman sues the state to raise the stripper law. A Florida passenger bit a flight attendant. A Florida woman plowed her car through a school. And a Florida man called 911 so he could hitch a ride. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News. They're from Florida, as you know, because on Friday I only do weird news from Florida. And it's mostly Florida dumb criminals. Today's no different. Here we go. A Florida woman with stripper aspirations is suing the state over the law raising the age requirement. We have here a 19-year-old Florida woman. She's got dreams of being a stripper. She's suing over a Florida law. It's a recent law, and it raises the age requirements to work in adult entertainment establishments in Florida. She claims this law violates her constitutional right. Her constitutional right to shake that thing, miss. Can I gonna shake that thing, miss? Can I wanna shake that thing, miss? Can I wanna Jordan and Rebecca? In addition, the Florida stripper claims that this law made her lose her job as a stripper, and that's her means of survival. I'm assuming she knows about OnlyFans. I think that's 18 and up. You can always have the OnlyFans, but you want to supplement your stripper income with the OnlyFans until you eventually get that off the ground, and then you can make the OnlyFans your source of income. And I hear people make a lot of money on OnlyFans doing all kinds of stuff. Like if you got nice feet, maybe consider an OnlyFans thing. Some sort of area of your body that you think you could make money with. It doesn't have to be the genitalia at all. Maybe you got some sexy-ass elbows that you want to show off. Maybe the kneecaps are looking good these days. You have them exfoliated. They've been lasered. They look sexy. They glisten in the moonlight. Maybe you want to make some extra ducats off your sexy-ass knees on OnlyFans. I say do it. Do it. So now we have a lawsuit here that was filed on Monday by Serenity Michelle Bushy. Is Serenity her real name or her stripper name? It could be her real name, guys, in which case her destiny was to be a stripper. You know, if your parents name you Serenity, Crystal, Disco Ball, Twerk Master Flash, I mean, if this is what you've been named as an infant, I mean, your destiny is to be a stripper. Let's keep reading about Serenity. She claims that she and at least 8 other performers were fired from Cafe Risque, which is a strip club in Gainesville, Florida, because of the new state law that increased the minimum age of strippers to 21. The lawsuit also includes Cafe Risque and 2 adult businesses in Jacksonville, Florida, as plaintiffs. They're seeking an injunction to stop the enforcement of this stripper law in Florida. We have a quote from Serenity's lawyer. It says, as with similar performers around the state of Florida, Serenity earned her living through her art while providing entertainment for the benefit and the enjoyment of her audience. Plaintiffs have a clear legal right to engage in protected speech of this nature. I love that the lawyer called it her art. I've never looked at a stripper on a pole and said to myself, you know, that's some amazing art going on up there. But I guess at the end of the day, it is a form of art, is it not? Because dancing is an art. This is also an art. I agree with a Florida lawyer for once in my life. Now, all of this is coming from the bill that Governor Ronnie Little D signed in May to limit the stripper age. They're saying that it would deter human trafficking. That was his plan. But companies in this complaint disputed this, saying they have long employed adult entertainers, cooks, waitresses, security guards, all younger than 21, with no instances of human trafficking whatsoever. The clubs say they hire performers under 21 to increase the talent pool and to attract young adult audiences as well. Many young entertainers use the job to support themselves through college as well, they say. Well, we'll have to wait with bated breath on this Florida stripper case. I'm sure it'll have vast repercussions in a state where there are more strip clubs per capita than any other place in the country. I heard that Portland, Oregon has more strip clubs per capita, but I'm not sure. I've been to Florida. I've seen the number of strip clubs that they have there. There's quite a bit. I don't know. I'll put the question to you guys. What do you think? Should the strippers be allowed to strip at age 18? Is that enough? People often make the argument, if you can join the military, then you should be able to strip. You should be able to, own a gun. You should be able to buy cigarettes. I think you can buy cigarettes though. You should be able to buy alcohol. They make this argument, but I think people are a little short-sighted here. They fail to see the Puritan values that are still ingrained in our country, specifically when it comes to older lawmakers that, they make these restrictions on our behavior in the culture. They're still walking around with these old school ideas about the human body and, oh my God, it's crazy, showing a boob and oh no, so you got to consider that too. That's what's going on. Enough of that rant. Call the show. A Florida woman bit a flight attendant on a United flight, forcing an emergency landing. A United Airlines flight that took off from South Florida was forced to make this emergency landing because a Florida lady bit a flight passenger and yelled profanities at other passengers. Well, in her defense, have you seen those tiny portions that they serve on United? That's not really a meal, Passengers got to eat, man. This poor Florida woman was probably starving. Oh, what's she going to do? Huh? Eat a passenger, obviously. This all happened on Tuesday on United Flight 762. It was heading to Newark, New Jersey after taking off from Miami International Airport. There was some cell phone video obtained that shows a very tense situation on the flight where the Florida lady was screaming at some other passengers. Flight attendants tried to de-escalate the situation. They actually attempted to zip tie the Florida woman, and that's when the Florida lady bit one of the flight attendant's shoulders, actually ripping off a piece of his uniform. Yikes! The Florida woman was yelling some obscenities to other passengers. The Florida woman was quoted as saying, "Suck my expletive," to another passenger. That's just normal Florida dialogue. Another video shows the woman restrained but continuing to scream serious profanities and swearing at the other passengers, threatening them, allegedly threatening to kill another woman, whom she also told to go back to Russia, old lady. Love that one. Well, you're not you when you're hungry, Florida man, unfortunately, is always herself in all situations, even zip-tied to a chair. Naturally, this flight was forced to make an emergency landing at Orlando International Airport, where authorities were waiting at the gate for the lovely Florida passenger. She was removed by the authorities, and the flight crew was replaced by a whole new crew. Yeah, as you should replace them. They're probably traumatized. They're gonna need some Florida man therapy after this. Later, the police were seen escorting the woman out of the airport. Video captures the passengers clapping once the woman was removed from the plane. Yay! Gotta feel bad for these flight attendants and the flight crew. I mean, it's just hard work over there. Could you imagine being part of the flight crew and you're told that you're going to have to work out of a Florida airport? Oh, yeah, it's like I better bring my pepper spray and brush up on my jujitsu.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
A Florida woman plows her car through a school. The story's out of Pompano Beach. Police say a driver caused more than $20,000 worth of damage after she drove through the gates of a South Florida school. There were 12 children with special needs inside this Bright Horizons school, with several employees there also when it happened. We have the campus monitor, Joseph, quoted as saying, "That is something that you never heard of." Well, I don't know where Joseph has been, probably living under a Florida rock. But Joseph, I hate to break the news to you. This happens all the time in Florida. I don't know why you would be surprised. You're a campus monitor at a Florida school. Shattered glass covered the floor on the campus of the Bright Horizons school after this Florida woman/reckless driver sped right onto the school grounds, plowing through glass doors, plowing through gates, plowing through railings. Wow, this girl is fast and furious. I can fix her. Just give me a week. I'll fix her. We got some more pertinent information by the monitor, Joseph, who was obviously on the scene. She came in. This lady drove through the gates right here. She drove around the back of the school. When she got to the back of the school, she just started doing donuts on the track back there, just making donuts. She made tire marks that are still visible on the school's basketball courts. It was crazy, man. But wait, there's more. After she was doing them donuts back there, she then started speeding down the school hallway. She ran over some wheelchairs. Thankfully, there was no one in them. And she almost ran over an employee that I saw they had to jump out of the way. She drove right through the school, ended up driving through the hallway going 40, 50 miles per hour. And once she came out of the end of this hallway, then she drove on out, man. My goodness. These Florida side quests are getting out of control. This lady was obviously going for the high score. Florida woman's name is Tiffany Medias, age 48. She was behind the wheel, according to the arrest report. Before crashing into the school, she held up her middle finger to the school surveillance camera. What does she have against this school, man? The incident has left parents wondering why she did this and why they say they weren't notified of what happened either. Well, they weren't notified. Well, it's in the media now, so I guess technically you're notified. I guess they wanted some special notification, which they probably deserve. They got students with special needs over there. You got to protect these students. They can't really fend for themselves in instances like this. Thankfully, at the end of the day, no injuries were reported, but still, I got to the end of the article, and there's no motive listed. But she seems fun at parties, right? A Florida man called 911 because he needed a ride to Tampa. A Florida man hoping to get a free ride was arrested after he called 911 emergency services and lied to them about having some suicidal thoughts in an attempt to get a ride to Tampa via something called the Baker Act. Now, it says this situation unfolded on Tuesday when a deputy was dispatched to the dollar store on Palmetto Street. The deputy was responding to a call regarding a man who dialed 911, alleging that he had some suicidal thoughts at that moment. When the deputy spoke to Florida man Harris, he ultimately admitted to lying about having these suicidal thoughts, and he did so because he needed a place to stay for the night. Harris said he was tired of living at his current residence in a place called Poinciana. Well, I have to admit, I've lived in some places that I wasn't too pleased with. I've had some roommates who were bat crap crazy, and I wanted out. I never thought of calling 911 and telling them that I'm losing my mind. Florida man Harris concocted this plan to call 911 about having these thoughts of suicide so he could get Baker acted and spend a few days in a mental hospital. Once released, he planned to use their resources to set up transportation to get him to Tampa since his mother no longer wanted to drive from there to pick him up. Wow, Florida man is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. This is kind of genius. Some people have upper-level matrix awareness, man. They don't feel like they have to go from A to B to C to D. They go from A and then they jump right to Q. You know, respect. You got to respect. The article gives a little more information about this thing called the Baker Act, which gives those who need urgent mental health care immediate mental health services in Florida, I assume for free. The law gives families and friends the ability to seek emergency mental care for their loved ones, mental health care for loved ones. It should only be used when all other avenues of intervention have been exhausted. A person must be mentally ill. They must refuse to participate voluntarily in a mental health evaluation or believe they must not need one, prove to be a threat to themselves or someone else, and they are incapable of taking care of themselves. So if you call and say, I'm having suicidal thoughts, that is a threat to yourself. But, this is misuse of this Baker Act, which is a great thing to have in the culture. I mean, people that are having these mentally ill episodes, hard to deal with. You need help like this, so I support that. I don't support the misuse of such things, but what do you expect from a Florida man? Lastly, the article says Florida man Harris has been arrested on one count of the misuse of 911, which is probably a misdemeanor, but I'm not sure. But you should learn your lesson here. You can't say you're crazy just to get some free air conditioning in Florida as much as you might want to in the month of July. Hi, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. Thank you for spending some time with your buddy Jonesy in the closet. I want to thank everybody who sent me Florida stories the past couple of days. Very, very helpful. I appreciate the assistance. Just want to give a heads up. I had a technical issue on one of the episodes. I believe it was the Wednesday episode. Very good episode involving some pretty good stories. I remember one being about Colombia has too much cocaine, and that's a problem. And we had some fun with that. Anyways, the episode was finally fixed. I was going back and forth with Spotify. I had to take it down, re-upload it, but it's now working. And I noticed it doesn't have a lot of listens. So if you want to go back and listen to that one, it's a very good episode. Please check that out. I hope you're having a nice weekend, or you had one, or you're about to have one. And if you want to support the show, there's a few ways. Go to weirdafnews.com. Maybe you want to support the show by buying Jonesy a coffee. You can do that right on the front page by hitting the Buy Me a Coffee. Or you can join the Patreon. And I put a couple things in the Patreon this morning, Friday, that are pretty fascinating. One of which is a Florida Man game that I came across, where you have to link the Florida Man headshot with the crime. It's pretty fun. I got 100% when I played the game. That's because I'm very familiar with these Florida Man headshots. I guess you could call me an expert on Florida Man. Did I say headshots? I meant mugshots. Florida Man mugshots. You have to match the mugshot with the crime. So, anyways, I nailed it. But you guys might want to try that. Those of you who are members of the Patreon, check that out. And, please consider joining the Patreon. Or not. You can help the show in other ways by telling a friend or writing a review. Those are awesome. And lastly, I just want to say, on behalf of the whole crew and staff at Weird AF News, good luck with your life, man.